everybody, welcome to Glow with Grace and to Oria's 21-month update. I can't believe it, she's almost 2. And some of you are probably wanting to see my necklace. I just was talking on Facebook about the fact that I got this new necklace with Larimar stone in it, and it's just a trip how much this stone speaks to the relationship between Oria and I. Some of you are asking to see it, so here it is. So Oria, this last month, I swear she just gets funnier and funnier. Oh, if you hear strange noises in the background, it's because they still haven't finished remodeling our kitchen. It's like the never-ending kitchen remodel. And there's birds screaming outside too. It's kind of chaotic right now. So, okay, Oria, this last month. Something really funny she's been doing is, I think I told you last month that she started to say, bravo! So this started when she would be drinking her smoothie in the morning and the other people who were here would be like, bravo! So now she started saying that to other people. So for example, if I'm like drinking something and I get to the end, she'll be like, bravo, mama! And just anything, you know, if I'm eating something, like if I get to the end, she's checking whether I got to the end or not. And if I do, she'll be like, bravo! She says it to the animals as well. And she also, I'm sure I mentioned this before, she likes to say, toma, toma, or tome. Like, you know, drink it, have it. And she'll say that to me a lot as well. Like if I'm drinking something, she'll be like, toma, toma, mama, toma. And she's been really into controlling the food of the dogs and the cats this last month as well, which has been really funny. So I put the food down on the floor for the dogs, for example, in the morning, and she'll be there like, no, no, and she'll take this bowl and give it to this one and take this and just moving everything around. And she does it with the cats as well. And she even, she'll take their food away and give them her food. And I'm like, the cats don't eat stuff like that, right? You know, she's giving them like her figs or something, you know, and so they don't eat that, Oria. And she's been loving giving her food, especially to the dogs, because they will eat, you know, they're scavengers, they'll eat a lot of the things that she does eat. So we'll, you know, give Oria food and we turn around and she's just like giving it to the dogs. And she'll be like, more! I'm like, Oria, you're giving all your food to the dogs. So it's been an interesting experiment with the animals this last month. She also likes to feed her food to her toys, any toys, but especially her baby. She has a baby doll and she'll like give them her food. And she's been really into everything to do with her baby items this last month. So she always wants to put on her baby clothes, like tiny baby clothes. She has to like force herself into them. Luckily some of them are bamboo, so they kind of stretch a bit and she still puts stuff on. And her baby shoes, this tiny shoe, like the first shoes that she ever had, she like forces her feet into them. I noticed the other day she'd been wearing them and she actually had a blister on her foot because she'd been wearing these like ridiculously tiny shoes, and I was like, no more. Right, it's crazy. So I hid them, and I hope she doesn't ask for them anymore. We'll see. Oh, and her baby chair, you know those bumbo chairs? She had a bumbo for a while when she was like, I don't know, from like 5 months or something. And she found that recently and she keeps trying to sit in it. You know, now she's like almost 2 years old and she's trying to force herself into this bumbo chair. So she's been really into all the baby stuff lately. I forgot to mention last month that it was mandarin season already last month, and she was really into the mandarins. She would go and sit under the mandarin trees and just eat them and eat them and eat. She can peel them by herself now, so she would just be like, rah, 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 like just obsessing on mandarins. Now it's a bit later in the season, and her favorite thing to do with the mandarins right now is to just sit on one of the countertops where we have the fruit in the kitchen, and she just like opens mandarin after mandarin after mandarin. And the same with bananas and mandarins at the moment. She's really into opening them. And the bananas I just take and put in a bag and put them in the freezer for like smoothies at some point, or banana ice cream or whatever. But the mandarins is kind of like, okay, we just have piles of peeled mandarins. So I often, I put them in my mouth and just kind of like squeeze the juice out and then like spit the solid part out. So I get lots of mouth-made mandarin juice at the moment, courtesy of Oria. Another thing that happened with fruits this last month was we found some cherries here from the US. Oh my God. Cherries are probably like my second favorite fruit in the world after durian. Probably my second favorite food, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, I've been living here for like 3.5 years and I haven't eaten any cherries in that time, except one time I tried some and they were just like disgusting. They were from Chile. They were probably full of pesticides. It was just like disgusting. So it's kind of one of the saddest parts for me of not going, for example, to the US or something. Is like, I just want cherries. I haven't had them for 3.5 years. So we found some cherries here from the US, and I was like, I've got to try them. So we got just a little bit to begin with to see if they were okay. And oh my God, both Oria and I have just been absolutely obsessed with cherries for like the last 2 weeks. I mean, we've just been like pounding, like pound after pound of cherries. And obviously she's never had them because she's only 21 months old and I've never had them in like 3.5 years. So it was a totally new thing for her, and she loves them as well. So we've just been like tanking the cherries. I've pretty much been living on cherries the last 2 weeks. But yesterday we both kind of hit a wall with it. We were just like, enough cherries. Oria's also started hugging people way more in this last month. She has always been like very independent, even like when she was in the womb and I would try to connect to her, she'd always just be like, I'm doing my thing, you do your thing. And I'd be like, okay. And she's never been one of those babies who will just like, you know, sit on your lap and just kind of sit there. You know, I see other people like just sitting there holding their child and I'm like, she would never do that. She's just like so active and just, you know, doing her own thing all the time. But in the last month, she suddenly got into hugging people and it's so sweet. It's just like the sweetest thing. Like if she's been playing with someone else for like an hour or something, she'll come to see me and she'll just like, like grab around one of my legs or like both my legs if I'm standing with my legs together or one leg to the other. It's just really, really sweet, like new little show of affection. She does it to lots of people, you know, people who she knows. It's really endearing. Something else funny that she's been endeavouring to do this last month is to throw things over her shoulder. It's so funny. She, you know, like if you have a piece of clothing and you like throw it over your shoulder and walk along or whatever, you know, just throw something over your shoulder. I guess she's, you know, seen people doing that and she's been trying to do it and it's hilarious. She'll do it for like 5 minutes straight. She'll get something and she'll walk around and just be like, like trying to get it over her shoulder and it never works. And she's like throwing herself around these like really exaggerated moves and she's so happy, like she just really loves experimenting trying to do it. And apparently she was in the kitchen the other day and she was trying to do it with a spoon. She just had like a long spoon in her hand and she was like trying to get it over her shoulder. And eventually she got it under her armpit apparently and she was really happy with that. She was just walking around with it under her armpit. She's a funny girl. I'm seeing something that's really interesting to me in her patterns. She definitely has a preference for older children as playmates rather than children around her own age. And this is something that we talked about with the author Naomi Aldort in our Conscious Parenting Summit that we did last year, the Conscious Parenting Summit series. If you haven't seen that, you can go check that out. It's amazing. Talks with like 20 kind of experts out there in the field of conscious parenting. Anyway, Naomi Aldort, author of Raising Our Children, Raising Ourselves, talks about the fact that children of the same age are not necessarily the best playmates for each other, which I think is just totally a great idea. And I absolutely get it because, you know, children of the same age, it's like the blind leading the blind, right? And I see this with Oria. It's so clear. You know, if there's a child around who's a similar age to her, she's just like she doesn't want anything to do with them, you know? But she sees a child who's like 7 or 8, she's all about it. She just wants to do whatever they're doing. She wants to be with them. There's one girl who's 8 around here, she absolutely loves. And another girl who's 14, both of them, she just like talks about them all the time. She just wants to see them. And Naomi Aldort talks about the fact that it's probably the best idea to at least double the age of your child in terms of a playmate. So if you have a 2-year-old, have them play with at least a 4-year-old, like, and older. And I just think it's so incredible to see. Something else that I've noticed over the last month that I think is really interesting, and I'm interested if anyone else has experienced this or has any comments about it or anything. So when she's frustrated about anything, could be absolutely anything, she bites things. So, you know, if she had this hair clip in her hand, if she has something in her hand, she'll bite that. So she'll be like, but if she doesn't have anything in her hand, she'll bite her own fingers. She'll be like, And I was talking to Mr. Monarch about this. I was like, have you noticed that she does that? If she's frustrated, she bites something. And he was like, oh, I haven't seen that, but that makes sense, right? It's kind of like it's coming out. And then I thought about it and I was like, wow, that's true. Like, I actually do that. She's never seen me do that. But if I'm frustrated or angry about something, like I feel like my blood's kind of boiling up, the energy's coming, what I do is I just go, and it comes out, right? It's like the physical moving of the energy out of my field. And I swear, the second I do that, it's like the energy has been released. And it's just like the exhale afterwards. And she's doing the same thing, but she's never seen, me do it. It feels like it's this like total natural bodily reaction. And she just got it, and no one tries to stop her from doing it. So she just has that, she's just getting it out through this. And I just think it's amazing. So I'm so fascinated if anyone else has observed that in children. She's also really gotten into drawing, painting, scribbling on things in the last month. We've been painting a massive mandala on the floor of my yurt, and she loves it. She comes in, she says, so pretty. And there's colouring pencils in there, and she'll come in and just like do all this colouring on the floor. But she keeps drawing on herself. Like, she'll get a hold of a pen, and just like end up with tattoos all over. And I'm like, oh my Lord. So yeah, I'm excited to see like what direction that goes into. Right now it's very just kind of like, Argh. In terms of language, she has started to use the past tense in Spanish now. So the first time I noticed this, the cat jumped onto one of the islands in the kitchen and she said saltó, like he jumped. And I was like, what? And she, she's just using that all the time now. Like, she'll put on her trousers and say poussé, like that she put them on, Okay, so all the words that she came out with in the last month, well, I'll say all the words that I wrote down that she came out with in the last month, because I know that I missed a lot. She just comes out with so much these days. It's like I just lose track, But I wrote down 70 something in the last month. So here we go. English first. She said, I think this is really old and I forgot it, but she says puppies. I think she said that months ago. She says out, really funny. She says, ow. Washing, like washing the clothes. Spoon. Piece, like a piece of something. Orange. Here. She says, come here. Because usually, like when she wants to change her clothes or something, she stands like too far away from where I am. So I say, come here. And she started to say, come here. Hemp seeds. She loves hemp seeds. Hare. Owl. Her favourite animal probably. Owls. She loves them. Same. As in they're the same. Trampoline. She spends an astonishing amount of time on the trampoline. I think there was one point in this last month where I was probably spending like 5 hours a day on the trampoline, because she loves it and she's so good at jumping. And someone was here yesterday and they was like, they were watching her and she's so strong, like she's just like all muscle, because she's just like bouncing so many hours a day. She's just getting like really, really strong from doing that. Oh, and she calls the trampoline saltalín as well in Spanish. So like jumpaline, saltalín. She says Celita, the name of the baby horse. Lani, who's the name of our friend here who painted the mandala on my floor. Amazing mandala artist from Israel. She says lettuce, horse, pink. Ali, who's the name of one of the girls I mentioned that she really loves around here. She is obsessed with Ali. She talks about her. Chair. She suddenly likes to sit in her high chair again. She didn't like it for many, many, many months, and then she just suddenly decided that she likes it again, and it's really nice. Like, she'll sit in that and eat lunch with us, whereas she wouldn't do that for months, and now she like loves doing it. Running, she says. Ostrich. If you didn't catch that news, we have an ostrich now called Zella. She's about to turn a year old and she's like 8 foot tall and she's just hilarious. She's so sweet and Araya loves her. She goes to collect feathers every day that she's dropped. So she says ostrich. She says Roxana, which is the name of a girl who's living here, who's actually called Roxanne, but she calls her Roxana. And Carlos, she says, which is Roxana's partner, he's actually called Carl, but she calls him Carlos. And Roxanne and Carl's dogs are called Pacha and Luna. And she says, Pacha, Luna. Marina is the name of one of her friends here, who she really loves as well. Stones, she says. She likes to throw stones in water and stuff. Sand, she absolutely loves her sandbox. She's in there every day as well. Balloons, she adores. Bell, ding, 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 ding. She has a little bell she really likes. Frog, I actually collected frogs when I was a child. I had hundreds, I mean literally like physical real living frogs. I didn't have hundreds of them, but I had very strong relationships with all the frogs in my area, and I collected like toy frogs. My walls in my bedroom were covered in frogs. I was obsessed with frogs, and she seems to have a similar addiction already. She's really into frogs. She has these little toy frogs, and they're like one of her favorite things in the bath and stuff. Pencils, because she's started to color. I think that was everything that I got in English. That's everything that I wrote down. In Spanish, she says otra vez, like again. Bebecito, like little baby. Sí, yes. Oveja, sheep. Orejas, ears. She says adios, bye. Piedra, stone. Vero is the name of one of the women who's helping out here at the moment. Grande, big. Popo, poo. No vale, like it's no good. Like if she sees a cherry that's like not looking very good, she'll be like, no vale. Lento, slowly. She tells herself when she's walking, if she thinks that she's walking too fast, she says lento, Oria, lento. Al dentro, inside or in. Papel, paper. Pies, her feet. Alto, high. Falta, this one's interesting. So it doesn't really exactly translate in English, but it's like kind of missing. Like if you're going to do 10 things and somebody asks you, have you done them all yet? You could say like falta dos, like there's 2 more to do, you know? And she uses that, like she totally understands how to use it. Like, oh, we were having lunch the other day and I finished already and Mr. Monarch hadn't finished yet, and she said falta dada, like she knew how to use it. Nada, nothing. Piscina, swimming pool. Puso, like to put, like I put on my trousers or something. She says que, as in like the sense of she'll say like que hermosa, like how beautiful, you know, how pretty, or whatever, que bonita, whatever. Raton, mouse. I have a pet mouse for anyone who doesn't know, called Kinka. She says pajarito, like little bird. There's lots of birds around here. Llama, like cool. So she'll say like Oria llama Baloo, like Oria's calling for Baloo, the dog. Oria llama Baloo. She says ven. That was like come. She suddenly said that to me one day. Like I was sitting somewhere and she wanted me to follow her somewhere, and she was like, ven mama, ven. Avestruz is ostrich in Spanish. She uses the word tan as in too much. I heard her say this first when she had a mandarin that was really green, and she said tan verde, like too green. So she says verde. She says rojo, the color red. She says leche for almond milk. She really likes almond milk. Papaya. She actually uses this a lot, kind of randomly. Like we don't really eat papayas very often, but she'll use it for like dragon fruit, for example. In Spanish is pitaya, and she'll be like papaya rather than pitaya. And any kind of like orange fruit that she sees cut up, she'll say that it's papaya. I don't know why, we don't eat it very often. She says sapillo, brush. Oh, she's been like starting to brush her teeth by herself, which I'm so happy about, because she was always like totally resistant to people like brushing her teeth or her brushing her teeth, and she's like starting to get into it. It's really nice. I told you earlier, I think she calls herself Senora Oria. Oh, did I tell you? I don't remember. Anyway, she started to call herself Mrs. Oria. Senora Oria. Calzon is kind of like little kind of knickers, shorts kind of thing. Someone gave her some of those and she's always like, calzon! She really likes writing that. She says sale, as in like go out. So she'll be like, Oria sale, like she's going out somewhere. She says about herself, Oria puede, like Oria can do this. That's because one of the women who works here with her, she always says to her, sí puede, Oria, sí puede, like you can do it. And she started to say it to herself, like she'll be doing something, she'll be like, Oria puede, sí puede. It's really sweet. She says, pela, like, I didn't look this verb up because I don't know it really, but I think it's pelar for peeling something, like when she peels the mandarins, she says pela, pela. Sandia, watermelon. Caballos, horses. Oh, and this one, I'm never sure what she's saying, but I think she says like bañaste or something. It's like when I've had a shower and then she sees me that I've got wet hair, she says something like bañaste, like you showered, like you bathed yourself. She says pintar, paint, and cuchara, spoon. I think that's everything. As usual, this is a ridiculously long video. I seem to be incapable of making short videos. I hope you enjoyed the 21-month update for Oria, and we'll see you next time.